All right, welcome back to the Rundown. We're here at State Champs. I'm Scott Bernstein along with Matt Mowry. We're talking high school sports in the state of Michigan every week. This week we're going to kind of shift gears from football and talk about some off-season basketball news and notes. We're going to start with what's been going on over at Detroit Renaissance. A bit of a mess. It's devolved into a bit of a three-ring circus this last month with the firing of head coach Vito Jordan. I'm going to break down the facts real quick and then we can discuss it. So on September 11th, new principal had taken over at Detroit Renaissance, decided to clean house in the basketball program. Said in a press release that it was about reaching a higher level of excellence. She let Vito Jordan go. There was a backlash from the parents of the kids on the team. There was a number of demonstrations to show their level of unhappiness. She then went and hired Mark White, the former Detroit Renaissance sideline general that coached some nationally ranked teams back in the 2000s, won state titles in 04 and 06. He'd been over at River Rouge. He took the job for about 24 hours and then backed out, has now been fired from River Rouge for even entertaining the idea of coming back over to Renaissance. You have players that have been threatening to transfer. You have a team. Now, the whole comment about striving for another stage of excellence is kind of contrary to some of the facts, because before this all started to take place, you had arguably the number one team in the state. You had two Mr. Basketball candidates in Chandler Turner and Florida Atlantic University commit Carrington McCaskill. Their status is up in the air. You've now, in the last 24 hours, have hired John White, the former assistant at Romulus and Southfield Christian, who had taken the job at Old Redford 2 months ago, has jumped from Redford to Renaissance before he even coached a game at Redford. We still don't know what's going on with the players. Matt, kind of give me your take on what's going on right now.
Well, as you mentioned, it's a mess, and you're not going to know until the season starts who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, if people are going to try to go someplace else. And even if players stay, it's not going to work well when there's already a chemistry of distrust in the program, because no matter who comes into that program, they've already got the parents working against them, which is every coach's nightmare, and now you've got the players working against them. It's just not going to be, realistically, the only solution is basically to eat crow and have Vito come back. That's the only one that
and he told us in a State Champs exclusive that he would have been open to coming back after the firing. It seemed like they've gone in a different direction. Carrington McCaskill, probably their best player, is threatening to boycott the season.
If Vito is not the coach.
If Vito's not the coach. It looks like that's not going to happen. Johnny White is in there. And Johnny White's a class act, a guy that comes from teams that have gone to Final Fours, that have won state championships, brings a lot of discipline and knowledge. So I guess we'll see what happens. It should be interesting. In my opinion, this was kind of a miscalculation on the administration's point of view. I think Vito's the type of guy that you want in the PSL, someone that the PSL should be embracing. He's a strong male role model. He's only 33. He's got a master's in education. He's a teacher. And by the way, he's a winner. He's taken, before he got to Renaissance, he was at Detroit Community, took them to the state finals in Class B. He's taken Renaissance to 2 PSL title games. And right now, if you would allowed him to coach this team, he could have taken Renaissance to the Breslin Center this year.
Yeah, it was not like this was a dumpster fire of a program. I mean, it could become that, and it's been a dumpster fire of a situation, but it certainly has not been that in the last couple of years.
So let's quickly move to some commitments on the boys and the girls fronts over the last couple of weeks. Break down some girls commitments, Matt.
Well, first off, we can stay right in the PSL. Detroit Kings' Deljanae Williams is going to Indiana State. The Sycamores are really getting kind of a local flair. They've got Walled Lake Western's Janara Flowers, who's a freshman. They've got Hamidy's Crystal Rice, who's a redshirt freshman. And then they've got Adrian Folks coming in from Country Day in the next class with Deljanae. So it's a real Michigan flavor down there. Then after that, we've got some GLIAC commits. We've got Sam Potter, the 6'1", kind of do-it-all everything guard forward from Royal Oak. We've got Claire Bargan from Kettering, who's going to Michigan Tech. And I'm sorry, Sam Potter's going to Northern Michigan. Yep. And then a sophomore from Grass Lake and Abri Cabana, who I saw a little bit in the AAU season, committed to Grand Valley. And then we've got another one in the GLIAC at Northwood, where Maisie Taylor from Midland Dow is staying right at home in Midland and going to Northwood, where her older sister, just transferred back from St. Louis, and her dad used to be the men's basketball coach back in the day.
All right, moving over to the boys. Holy Cross has come in from the Patriot League and snared their backcourt of the future out of Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor Pioneers, Drew Lauder, maybe the best true point guard in the class of 2019, is going to Holy Cross, as well as Ann Arbor Skyline two-guard Ryan Wade. You got B. Artis White, the point guard from Canton, committed to Western Michigan. His father is Benny White, the coach now at Birmingham Groves, had previously been at King and an assistant at Eastern Michigan. Benny played at Michigan State in the 1970s. You have Carrington McCaskill going to Florida Atlantic University. You have a homeschooler from Grand Rapids, Luke Maranka, going to Toledo. And then over in the Catholic League at UD Jesuit, maybe the best pure big guy in the state senior class, Jalen Thomas, committing to the University of Massachusetts out of the Atlantic 10. So it's exciting to think about basketball coming up in the next couple months. We got football. We got football to finish off, and then we'll be talking more basketball as the weeks go forward. I'm Scott Bernstein, Matt Maury. This was The Rundown.